So we will allow some time for people to join. And if you can just share it on your page at this time. And for those who come on, please share on your page so others can be blessed by Tia's story tonight. Hopefully you don't hear the noise in my background.
Hopefully you won't hear everybody in there.
Okay, did you see it come up on yours?
Yep, I do. I'm sharing it now.
All right. Okay. All right, join us. Come on in. Okay, so I'm just gonna get this going. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started for those that's coming in. Let me just make sure I got everything up right. All right, there we go. So I see a few people on. Hey, Denise, how you doing? Hi, everyone. So we'll go ahead and get started. For those who are new to S.H.E.R.O Spotlight, welcome. To returning S.H.E.R.O family, welcome back. Just happy to have you on tonight. So we have a treat for you all. But for those who are new to S.H.E.R.O Spotlight, I want to explain what it is. So God gave me this vision around, I think it was around the pandemic, to share my story with being a therapist, number one, but also dealing with depression. That was very hard for me to do because I am a therapist, but when I was going through my darkest moment and dealing with depression, when I was going through a divorce, I felt I was alone. I didn't want to seek therapy at the time because I thought I could, fix my own problems, but later on I did. But I just remember going through that time and just feeling alone. Although I know there's a lot of people who deal with depression, I just felt alone. And so the purpose of S.H.E.R.O Spotlight was to spotlight mothers who have had adversities but have overcome them. Because again, I want other people to see that you're not alone. There's other people who've had struggles as well, but they overcome them. We all have different journeys, but we have similar things that we go through. And so S.H.E.R.O, I created the acronym. Well, we know that S.H.E.R.O is a female hero, but the acronym is S stands for sacrificing for my child, H is healing from my past hurts, E is evolving into what God wants me to be, R is revealing my truth, and O is obtaining my goals and happiness. By doing those things, I was able to overcome. And so now I spotlight mothers every month. I pick one for them to share their journey. And tonight I have Tia Slaughter here with me tonight. Yay. And for those who watched the preview yesterday, Tia and I have known each other since we were kids. We went to church together. We sang in a gospel group together and in the choir together. And so I'm so excited to have her here and that she's evolved into a phenomenal woman. And so Tia, share a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Well, like she said, I'm Tia. I am from Lynchburg, Virginia, very small town.
Not really.
I know it is kind of big though, because a lot of people always say, I say I'm from Lynchburg. Like, I know where that's at.
Right.
What else about me? I am married to my middle school sweetheart. We've been married for 22 years. We have 6 babies together. So much. We are a military family. We've been in many different states. We've lived outside of the country. We've lived in Korea. So much. Yeah, that's about me.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about your family a little bit. I know you said you have 6 kids. What's their ages?
Okay. Whew. Okay.
Let's see if you can get it, mama.
Yeah. So I have 1 boy and 5 girls. My oldest is my only boy, and he is 24. And then we have a 22, 18, 13, no, 14, 12, and 6.
Now, y'all show Tia some love. I mean, because that's a lot. I got 1 and I'll be on the struggle bus. So 6, she makes it look good. And so at the age of 16, you became pregnant. I remember that because we went to church together. How did that impact your life, being a teen mom?
Ooh, it was hard. I made a lot of sacrifices. I really wanted to go to college, straight out of high school. Look, I'm getting nervous already. I wanted to go to college straight out of high school. I couldn't because, I had my son. And I was like, there was just like a lot of things that just, had to not be done because, I had to grow up so quickly. I had become a mom very, very early. So a lot of things that I wanted to do, a lot of those things, they kind of like, just got put on the back burner for a little while. But it also changed my life for the better too, because I wouldn't change it for the world. Like I absolutely and adore my son, and so like it changed my life for the better as well.
Right. And like I said earlier, we both grew up in church. And when a person sins, in some churches, they usually are no longer able to serve in certain capacities within the church, and they have to sit them down, as they call it, to kind of the consequence for sinning. So how do you think it's hurtful or helpful when churches do that?
I've thought about this. So for me personally, it was hurtful. And so I think I have to go from that because especially I'm going to speak from a 16-year-old standpoint. You know what I'm saying? And like when you're 16 and you're heavy, heavy, heavy in the church and, it's all that you know. And then it's like, uh-oh, I did this thing, this very grown adult thing. And now like, I getting like these things pulled away from me. The things that absolutely, that I love to do. I absolutely love to sing. And that's what we grew up doing. Like we were always singing, always in the choir. So that was like the thing that I had. And that was the thing that kept me like, I felt like kept me, I guess, in the church was the choir at that age, and so like once that happened, I was like, well, okay, I'm sat down and I can't do these things anymore. So like, okay, what's the point? Kind of that's kind of like what my thought process was like, okay, so what's the point? And so, I kind of like at that point, it was like, okay, well, yeah, I'm just going to focus on me and my boyfriend at the time. And I'm just going to go off. And I didn't think about God for a very long, I knew he was there, but I didn't think about it, anymore because I'm like, okay, well, I felt at that point, God maybe turned his back on me because that's all I knew was, church. So.
Right. Yeah, because when you, like you said, when the church turns her back on you, that's how you felt when you have to sit down, then you obviously would think that God has done the same.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. And then with me being a pastor's daughter, I know I'm probably gonna get some heat for this, but it's just like, I've always wondered that though, because you do want to understand, how that makes a person feel. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit, but it's just like, when some people may say, well, if the person commits a sin, then what should be the consequence then?
Right.
And so with that being said, what do you think then? If that is something they shouldn't do, but what should they do? Or should they do nothing at all?
I don't know. I do not have an answer. I don't have an answer for it because I understand on both sides, you know what I'm saying? Like both sides of the coin and like, I don't know. Thank God I'm not a pastor and I don't have to make.
I think for my take on it is just, I think at the end of the day, God is the one to judge.
That's it.
Because no sin is greater than the other. And I think when a woman becomes pregnant, of course, and I think one of my S.H.E.R.O said it, who was a teen mom as well, they're carrying the sin. So you obviously see it. Not so much the male who you might have a piano player, organist or whatever, a choir director who over there cheating, but you may not see that because he ain't carrying the sin. Only way you might find out is if he get caught. Yep. So then is it catered more to the woman then, so is it fair? So that's why for me, I'd be like, I think it's more so God is the judge at the end of the day. And obviously that person, if they grew up in the church, they're going to feel convicted. They're going to feel some type of way. And that's between them and God at the end of the day. That's who's going to judge us all. And that's just been my take on it as I've grown up. Now, I know people are probably going to come against me, the pastors or whatever may say something different, but there's no disrespect or whatsoever of how, churches do it, but that's just how I feel. It's an opinion. Because I can see how, like you said, then that person loses their connection with God because they feel like everybody's against them. And that's when you might lose somebody in the church because they'd be like, man, forget the church because of these rules and the things they're now telling me that, it's bad. And now I'm a bad person, especially somebody being 16. How do you process that? You may not have all the tools to process that.
Don't.
Right. So that's why I say I think it's up to God at the end of the day, because again, the woman's carrying this in. So obviously she's going to be the one that's showing it. But all these people who get away with stuff, and let's be real, we all know too, Pastorson got away with stuff too, cheating and doing things like that. And then they might sit down very short and be back in the pulpit again, preaching to people, leading people. So that's why I say it's no sin is greater than the other. And again, it should be around the board for everybody. And another thing with you, I think it's amazing. You married your boyfriend. So again, that you guys have defied the odds. You married him, you guys have slept together, and you said, been married, 21 years?
22 years.
22 years. And so you married when you were 19.
Yeah.
And so you both pretty much grew up together. And of course, as we grow, our personalities change, what we like change. So how did you keep your marriage intact?
So we went through it all, but I really think it's like prayer, like legit, like, and we had to come, it was hard for a very long time, especially through those 20s. It was very hard through those 20s, but I know that I have a praying mother for sure. I have a praying mother for sure. And I know that she was right in the midst of that, like sending up those prayers, especially during the time when Tia wasn't hearing any of that, and we have both been through to the point where it's like, okay, we're done. I'm done. But I know it was my mom that was sitting there and praying for the both of us. And I thank God for those prayers because like once we actually start like communicating with one another and like actually saying, hey, I'm not 17-year-old Tia anymore. At this point, I'm 25-year-old Tia and I'm 35-year-old Tia and now 41-year-old Tia, so you always have to communicate. And I think we have done a pretty good job with communicating with each other and letting each other know, I used to like that, but no, not anymore. So, yeah.
Right. And I'm finding that is the commonality in all the S.H.E.R.Os I've talked to, is that the communication is the key. And then I think the respect factor too, respecting each other's thoughts and feelings and not thinking that one person is right over the other. Sometimes you may have to agree to disagree at the end of the day, but you are two technically individual people.
Yes.
But you're coming together, fighting to keep something, your marriage together, basically. So what would be your best advice to a married couple?
We just said it, like communicate. Like if you do not communicate exactly what it is, and when I say communicate, that doesn't mean like screaming and hollering. That's not communication. That's not, because you're not hearing each other, like screaming and hollering at each other, or like you really have to have an open heart to receive from your partner and listen to what they're saying to each other. And that's how, you work on that communication and like really, really say what you feel, because I've had to learn this, that Philip can't read my mind. And so I would get upset when I'm like, I'm feeling this kind of way because I want him to understand, but you ain't told him. So how you supposed to know? He can't read your mind. And so like, that's the same thing. And the same thing goes for him. I can't read his mind. So if we don't tell each other exactly what it is, then we'll never know. So communication is very, very, very important.
Right. And that's a good point, because I tell my clients that all the time. You can't hold anybody accountable if you haven't told them how you feel. Now, once you tell them how you feel and they continue to do the same thing, then you can hold them accountable. But like you said, nobody's reading your mind. They don't know. So now we're going to kind of switch gears and go into like your adversities. I want you to share your challenges, because you've been a military wife. Your husband is now retired from the military. So talk about that.
So, a military spouse. When we first went in, we were little kids, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all these things, blah 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 blah, and it's like, it's a whole different ball game when you get into the military, because off top, they are being pulled. They have to go to the field, and the field can last for a week. It can last for a month. It could last for, they get deployed and they're gone for a year, gone for 15 months. And you're left at home, on the back end, trying to make sure that you're handling everything. And then you become like it's like I can understand single parents, even though I'm not a single parent. In that deployed time frame, I can understand from a single parent standpoint, because you become like almost like a single parent. Like, of course, you get to, well, when Philip first got deployed, there wasn't a thing as cell phone. Like, so, you know, you can't just pick up the cell phone and just call. Like, I would have to sit and wait for his phone call for like a week or so before I could hear from him, that kind of thing. And it was like, I got 2 kids, you know, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it was just crazy. But I don't know what else happens. The military is all like, in the military, it's always like, hurry up and wait. So you never know what's going to happen next. Like you don't know if he's either going to deploy or if you all are about to move to a new duty station. Like you can start getting used to one little duty station, which is like where you live. You get used to that duty station, and before you know it, you know, it's like, oh, okay, well, we need you over here in California. And now you have to uproot your whole entire family and move to California, or, you know, Texas or Virginia or wherever it is, you know, that the military decides to move you. So it's always like uprooting and then rooting yourself back up. And you got to make new friends. You got to make new, you know, get a new job. A lot of women deal with that as military spouses, with like their careers, especially if you are a heavy career woman. Like you have to be built to be a military spouse, because changing careers is like, whoo, that's a whole different conversation.
Right. And your husband was deployed to Iraq how many times?
Philip went 3, I want to say 3, maybe even 4 times, but I think for sure 3. But he's also been to Africa and he's been to Korea, both by himself.
Wow. So. And so just trying to set a picture for the audience. So just think about that stress level. Because again, like she said, it was during the time without cell phones. And then, you know, she's young with the little ones. She's raising by herself in a different area, away from home, away from her support team. So think about that. So I'm sure that at times there was some depression. And I think we kind of spoke about that. And at the time you didn't know what that was, though.
No, absolutely not. Especially after I had my second child, my daughter, my oldest daughter, I went through postpartum depression, and my mom had to come and get her from me. So because at that time she had colic and I'm going through postpartum depression.
Wow.
And so it was like my mom had to come and get her, because I was like, I don't know what I'm about to do, but I know I'm about to hurt somebody, or, you know, like either myself, the baby, or something, but something has to give. And my mom had to come and get my daughter, because the postpartum depression like took over. So it was really, really, really bad. And then, you know, as the kids came even more, and we lost a daughter and these things are happening, I go through depression again. And it was like, you know, you don't know how to handle those, especially when you're not going to therapy and you don't know that you need therapy. And sometimes you get so busy that you don't even realize that you're depressed until all of a sudden it's just like this dark cloud just takes over you, and you're like, okay. And you know, you can't like pull yourself out of it, and you know that you can't, like, you know that something is wrong. But for a long time, I didn't even know I was depressed. I was just dealing. Just through the motions. I was just, you know, dealing with this is what I've been handed. I got to take care of these kids. I got to do what I got to do. So I'm just going to deal with it. And that's exactly what I did. I just dealt with it for a long time.
And a lot of people don't know. And some signs of depression is eating too much or eating too little, sleeping a lot or sleeping too little, just being unmotivated, and being hopeless, having suicidal thoughts. And for me, that came into my mind, and it's like, I've never been a person to think like that. And when I thought about taking my life, like, what in the world, what's happening to me? And again, I'm a therapist, and it's just like, how did I get here? And like you said, it just becomes this dark cloud. It just overtakes you. And I felt trapped. I felt like I was in this box, like I couldn't get out. And so that's why I definitely understand, you know, people who deal with depression, when some people say, oh, just get over it, you're just sad, you'll be fine. No, it's deeper. It's deeper than that. You know, it's just like and like Tia was saying, you just deal with it and try to move on. But there are some people who have it so severe that they don't want to shower, they don't want to get out of bed, they can't get a job because they can't function. they can't do, and some people just push it and are functioning people with depression, but it's still impacting them.
Yeah.
And so it's good that now, a lot of times people are talking about therapy more, and different resources that you can use. And I always tell people, when you're dealing with depression, you got to keep moving, because if you stay in that house and you don't have nothing to keep occupy your mind, those thoughts are going to take over. So you got to keep yourself busy. If that's working, getting out the house. I tell people too, in the winter months, that's when a lot of depression sits in. You open them shades, get some sunlight in, go for a walk, see some light, because you will be in that dark place. And another thing you started dealing with was anxiety as well. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with your husband being deployed, but I think you said it kind of triggered more during the pandemic. So share a little bit more about that.
So during the pandemic, I am an introvert. Everybody laughs at that because I know how to talk and laugh and joke and have a good time and all those things. But a lot of people don't know that I'm very introverted. Mm-hmm. So when COVID happened, the pandemic happened, and everybody has to stay in the house. Then all of a sudden it's like the anxiety kicked in, because now I have to keep these 5 babies safe, from whatever this is that's out there. I have to keep them safe, but then I also have to homeschool them now. It's like, do I know what I'm doing? And are they gonna pass? All of these things, what is happening right now? And it's like, nowadays, I don't want to, I'm still dealing with it. Nowadays, I don't want to be too close to anybody. If you're coughing, I'm like, I don't want to touch things. I don't want to, I've become this huge, germaphobe, just no.
Right.
I don't like any of that. I don't like being on the planes, with people. I'm like, oh, just get me off of here. I'm ready to go. It's bad. Right. So, and I really think I don't think that I'm the only person that deals with that. I feel like everybody needs to be in therapy or something now after the pandemic, because.
Right. And I mean, there's research that showed the pandemic did increase numbers for mental health, and anxiety being one of them. A lot of clients that I treat, a lot of them are dealing with anxiety. And the things that I tell them is, first of all, it's in your mind. So you got to stop with the what ifs, because it's a lot of what ifs could happen. So you work yourself up, because you'd be like, what if this happened? And then next thing you know, you're freaking out and you're having a panic attack. So it's like, you have to, number one, find your trigger. What is the trigger? What's triggering you? But then you have to challenge those beliefs. I tell them what's the facts? What is really happening now? Not what you think is going to happen. What is happening now in the moment? And if they can get to that place, and I also teach them breathing. Take a breath, calm down, calm yourself down, take a breath, and then challenge those thoughts that's coming in your mind. Because again, we can get in a car and a lot of things can happen. You can work yourself up to make anything, seem real in your mind. And so that's the hardest part for people to do, is retraining your brain. And anxiety, like I said, has really increased in a lot of people since the pandemic. And even for me, I'm an introvert as well. So it's funny too, people probably think I'm not. I know the right things to do to be sociable, but I love to be at home alone. Yeah. But I think it made me like an extrovert. It's like, I want to get out and see people now. So I think it did a complete opposite. But also too, I think it's increased mental health issues with people too, because people working from home. So not finding the balance between work life and your personal life, but things have spilled over. So then the stressors have went up as well. So just a lot going on. And so again, there's resources out there, therapy. I mean, I'm an advocate for it. But there's other resources you can do. They got all sorts of apps now that can help you, calm you, anxiety apps actually. Because I refer my clients to those. They do certain little exercises with you. They do little alerts to tell you to do certain breathing exercises. And meditation is great if you have anxiety, because it would get you in a good space and calming your mind and your thoughts. So yeah, there's a lot of great things out there. But I know you mentioned a few minutes ago that you did deal with some loss, and that was you had a child. And share a little bit more about that situation.
Okay, so we lost our daughter. I want to say it was maybe 2007, I think it was. 2007, we lost she would have been number 4 for us, Trinity, and we lost her due to trisomy 18, which trisomy 18 is a a more severe form. Like a lot of people, well, you'll notice children have Down syndrome. So trisomy 18 is kind of like that, but worse. They don't expect babies with trisomy 18 to make it past the age of 1 year. And if they do make it past that, you would basically be taking care of them for like every single thing that they have to do. Like they would basically need your care, you know. So yes, we lost her, and right after we had her, right after we lost her, I probably got pregnant with what's our rainbow baby. I probably got pregnant with my number 4 now, Taylor. Maybe not even 3 or 4 months after losing her.
Wow.
So we got pregnant like right away. And so I had her, and then maybe like a year and a half later, I got pregnant again. So I was pregnant back to back to back.
Wow. Wow. And so with the being pregnant back to back and all the stressors and stuff, you started losing your hair. And so share with everyone about that and your alopecia journey.
So I lost my hair. So I noticed that I was starting to lose my hair probably in like 2010. So right after I had my 12-year-old. And my sister was braiding my hair all the time. And then she was like, no, she was like, Tia, like, you know, you're losing a lot of hair up here. And at that time, like I said, we had been pregnant back to back to back. So I'm thinking, you know, okay, this is just stress, you know, and a lot of it probably was stress. This is just stress, you know, and my body has been through a lot, you know, and this is coming from, you know, not losing, but having so many babies. So, you know, I just thought that's what it was. And so I started getting into wigs. So I always say I hid under the wigs for 10 years. For 10 years straight, I hid under those wigs. I wouldn't go swimming. I wouldn't get on a roller coaster. I wouldn't, like, all these things that I love to do. I wouldn't do these things. Like, I wasn't gonna go to bed. Sometimes I would literally fall asleep with the wig on my head just so Philip wouldn't see like what was up under, you know, the wig. And so it was like I would wrap it up like it was mine. It was going on my scalp, but it wasn't. So I hid under those wigs. So in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, yeah. Well, backtrack a little bit. I went to the doctor like when we were living in Fort Eustis, and the doctor confirmed that, you know, it wasn't postpartum or whatever. It wasn't stress. I had alopecia. And so then we fast forward to 2020, and I was like looking at myself, and I was just like tired of it. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna cut it all off. And I don't know what it was. I was like, I'm just gonna cut it off because I can't do this anymore. And so I got Phil, I was like, babe, let's just cut it off. And he was like, are you serious? Like, yes,
Right.
let's just do it, because I was tired of the wigs, and like all starting to look the same. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So he cut it off, and at the time that he cut it off, my girls were off in camp. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna show them? So we went to go pick them up at camp, and I had the wig on because I didn't want to pick them up. And, you know, when they left me, I had a wig on, I had hair, and they come back and I'm bald. And so I was like, let me go pick them up. I'm gonna have the wig on. And because I didn't want to embarrass them, you know, like, oh, your mom. So we picked them up, they get in the car, and someone's like, girls, I got something to show you. And so I pulled the wig off, like, oh, mom, you look so good. Like, they're just hyping me up. So I'm like,
yeah, when the kids hype you up, you gotta believe it.
oh yes, like them like noticing and them like being excited, because they, you know, they live with me. They seen the hurt and like me with my hair and that kind of stuff. They seen that. So for me to shave it off and that kind of stuff and like wear it out. And, you know, I talk to them and they're like, oh yes, like you have to wear this. And so like, and my 12-year-old, she is like, this is so dope. You look so cute. Like she is the one that is all for it. Like, yes, Mom, you look so good. And so, you know, them like giving me that energy and letting me know, okay, it's good. We're good with it. You look good. It looks, let's just go. And so that's what I did. My girls empowered me. And
There you go. You got a lot of hearts in the chat too on that. And so tonight I'm going to reveal my truth. I'm always, telling my She-Ros to be transparent, and they're out here being brave, sharing their stories. And so I have alopecia, and I've been dealing with it since my college years. It started off like just a dime shape, and then over the years it just grew and grew to just, a lot. I mean, yes, this is all my hair, it is all my locks, but I have a great stylist, shout out to Sunday, who can hide it very well because she also has alopecia, so she understands the struggle is real. But there has been a lot of times, because I've been to different doctors, I've actually, more so tried to find African-American dermatologists that understand Black hair. Because the first time I went to a dermatologist, they were Caucasian, and her first thing was like, you need to stop, using relaxers. Okay. And I went natural at that point. But then I continued to have hair loss. So I'm like, well, obviously it's not that. And that's been the struggle, because I've been dealing with this for so long. That's been my struggle. I've been to so many different people. I've tried so many different products. I've done the whole holistic natural route as well. And no one can tell me what is causing it. So it's very frustrating. I tell my doctor every time I go see her, like, no one can tell me anything besides, you can take these steroids, put them in, I get the steroid injections in my scalp, which hurts. I've done biopsies. I've done all sorts of stuff using the creams and stuff like that, which becomes very redundant, and you don't see a whole lot of change, but no one can tell me, what is causing my hair loss. So I have had times where I looked in the mirror and literally have cried, and I'm very strong. And that has made me cry, because if you think about it, for women, hair is very important to us. And also in this society, it equates beauty too. I mean, people's hair, it's a big thing. I get compliments on my hair all the time, but deep down inside, I'm like, you just don't know, I have alopecia. But it's been a struggle for me, because I want to understand, why is it happening and why is it continuing to happen? I mean, right now, yes, I can hide it well, but if it continues to happen, am I going to be able to hide it well? I'm not as bold as Tia. I'm not ready to ball at all. So that's why I say I commend her. I ain't there yet. Maybe hopefully I get there, but I get it, because I get tired. I get tired of no one being able to tell me anything. And it is a big thing in African-American women too. We're losing our hair more so than others. And so that's the other reason why. It's just like, why can they not figure out what's going on? I've been told it could be, certain gene that we may have in African-American women, but no one, again, has found a cure for it besides use Rogaine or something like that, So it's really a struggle. And I don't think people understand that. And then I've even thought about getting like hair transplants. That's expensive, by the way. And insurance companies don't, cover this, because they see it as cosmetic, but really it's a disease, it's a medical condition. And so that's my story. It's definitely a struggle. And I hope that people can be brave about it and be more open about it, because your hair, I'm learning more and more, my hair doesn't define who I am. Because we hide behind it. Like you said, you hid behind wigs, sometimes I'll be like, I just want to go out there in the world with my hair, just whatever. But I ain't there yet. So y'all bear with me. And so how did you feel when you did finally cut it?
I felt relieved. That is I felt so relieved. I literally cried, but it wasn't like sad tears. It was tears of relief, because I let it go. I really did. I let it go. But I will say that I did go into Hobby Lobby. I did go into Hobby Lobby like maybe a week later. And I went in there, and I remember I'm on the phone with Onesie, and I promise everybody and their mom just looked like this at me. And I was like, tears just started rolling down my face.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm bald and that kind of thing. And my sister's like, just calm down. So I did have that one meltdown.
Right. And I think that's the thing too, is just like, I allowed myself that one time to cry, but it's just like, I have to accept who I am. And also there's different types of alopecia. Some people have it that is severe where it's like they don't have any eyebrows, any hair at all. So I have to look at it that way of like, grateful that I do still have hair. And then you think about people who lose their hair because of certain diseases like cancer and stuff like that. So it's like, I am still grateful that I have hair, but it's still a struggle. But I allowed myself to cry that one time, but I'm like, I ain't crying no more. We're going to figure this out.
We're going to get
yes, we're going to get through this. So with losing a child, dealing with alopecia, anxiety, husband being deployed, how did you get through all this?
The grace of God.
There you go. God is good.
Grace of God. That is like, that is my only answer. It really was. It was like the grace of God, because I knew I had to. And I think like just my kids give me strength. So I know that, okay, if I don't do anything else, if I can't live for myself, I gotta live for them. You know what I'm saying? I gotta make it for them. I have to, because they cannot I can't let these babies down. They didn't ask to be here. I can't let them down. And so it was the grace of God and just knowing that my kids need their mama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you, when we talked earlier, you told me like your first 3 kids, they had the mama without therapy. And the last 3 had the mom with the therapy.
And that is so true. It is so true. Like my older 3, they had mom without therapy. Oh my goodness. Like, let's just pray that these are great humans at this point.
Right.
But those last 3, they definitely have mom in therapy. And they see mom like peaceful and, just dealing we still deal with things. I'm still going through things and dealing with things. But, I can, now that I'm in therapy and I've been in therapy, I know what triggers me. I know when when I need to take a breath and, step away. I know when it's like, okay, I know when I need to ask for more help,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like I have to do every single thing, take care of the whole entire house, make sure everybody has shoes. Like I can ask for help, and I know how to ask for help now. At first, I didn't know how to ask for help.
That's good. That's key. Because it is hard asking for help. I mean, I've struggled with that too. But you do have to ask for help. Again, it goes back to no one can read your mind.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have people out there who are willing to help, So I have a great support system, but I had to learn that too. It's just like, I'm doing this by myself. I don't want to ask people because I don't want to feel like I'm burdening people. But then when I finally did ask for help, people were willing to help. Because again, we're not living in this world alone. So you can't just think you can do everything by yourself. And I think that's us as women, we just take on so many roles. We said we can do this, we can be the strong one, and a sign of weakness is maybe asking for help, but it's not. It's actually it's strength actually to see that you have a need and you actually reaching out and using your resources. And you have one of the toughest jobs, which is being a stay-at-home mom. Some people may think the stay-at-home mom's like, oh, that's easy. No, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't talk to stay-at-home moms. It is not easy. No. So share your experience with being a stay-at-home mom, the challenges, and also the joys.
Oh man. So being a stay-at-home mom, you're the cook, you are the taxi, you are the house cleaner, you are the teacher, you are the lawyer, you are the doctor, you are all of these things.
Right.
You wear many, many, many hats when you're a stay-at-home mom. But I love it though. I really do. I love it. Like I have tried, I really have to work, and I do work now, but it's inside of home and it's for us. But I've tried to leave. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Paisley, which is our 6-year-old, she went to school, and as soon as she went to school, I'm in there and be a working woman. Yes, I worked for 1.5 years, and I was like, because this is
you're like, this is not for me.
I really, I was missing things. I was missing my daughter's volleyball, I was missing homework was starting to get behind, and I'm like, grades are dropping, and behavior things are just out of whack. And I didn't feel good about those things. I didn't feel good about those things because I know when I was home, with the older three, I was for sure at home and like, they made great grades. They weren't missing school. They were, I was at every football game, every cheerleading practice, every, these things like band rehearsals and stuff. And that's what I absolutely love to do because when I was growing up, my mom was a single mom. She had two, at the time, it was me and my sister.
Mhm.
And so she always had to be gone and she was gone to work, so she wasn't able to be there for me in the parade or me at a track meet or me in ROTC, doing things and going on a drill meet and that kind of stuff. She wasn't able to do that because she had to work because she was a single parent. And so I always wanted to be at home with my kids so that, because for me, like being able to look out in the audience and, see my mom or something, that would have been the world to me. But I knew that, she had to be at work, so she couldn't be there. Oh, I'm gonna cry, poor mom. But that brings me joy because I always wanted my kids to be like, my mom is out there. So when my son was made a touchdown, I knew he could look over there and see his mom, the loudest one out there.
Right. Exactly.
I want my kids to, when my girls are playing volleyball, I want them to look over them like, you did that, girl. Like I always want them to see mom right there at every single thing, chorus and dance class and everything. And so that's what brings me joy. And so like, it's hard, but I get so much joy in being here with my kids. And, also like my husband, he works from home now. And so it's a completely different thing from, we've had to adjust because he was always on with the military and now he, works from home. So it's become an adjustment, but being that we are both here and we can tag team these things and it just makes things like a lot easier. So
yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, because I'm grateful that I have a job. I work from home, so I'm able to go to my daughter's event, and my job understands work-life balance, so it's never an issue. But the one time I had something else going on, I couldn't come to one event. She reminds me of that all the time. I'm like, girl, I can't anything else.
They do that. Yes, they do.
But they'll remember that one time you didn't show up. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I kind of grew up the same way with my parents. They just worked. Yes, I grew up in a 2-parent household, but my parents worked a lot. So a lot of my events they didn't get to come to. And it did feel some type of way when I would look in the audience and see other people's parents, but my parents wasn't there. I didn't feel like they were really invested in what I was doing, but I now understand, yes, they had to work. It's not that they wasn't investing in what I was doing. It's like, just couldn't be there because they had to pay bills, And so you are a social media manager. So speaking of your family and being a stay-at-home mom, share more about that and growing up S.H.E.R.O. Share that with the people.
So growing up S.H.E.R.O, this big old family. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and we are the YouTube is up there, but we're gonna start working more in the YouTube realm so everybody can just kind of get like a little snippet of the day-to-day life of the Slaughters. And everyone's like, you guys need to start a YouTube channel out like all the time, and I'm just like, because I'm pretty private, but at the same time like, I kind of want to share these things and get to know so everybody can see like these kids' personalities. I have posted for years on Facebook and I always call them tearing stories, and they would just see these, my kids' personalities. And when I tell y'all, we have a family full of hilarious people. Everybody's personality is hilarious. And so we'll start sharing a little bit more of that on, YouTube and stuff. But yeah, so I said, the creative director of Going Up Water. And I also do like social media managing on the side, kind of like dabbling in that. But yeah.
And something else I think is cool about you, fun fact, you love Disney, everything Disney. I love it. And you recently participated in something I meant to ask you about that. But yeah, she's a Disney fan.
Yes, huge Disney fan. We have been, I don't know how many times we've been to Disney now, but I absolutely love all things. This is Mirabelle from Encanto. All the plants. All my plants have Disney names.
That's too funny.
My name's Raja from Aladdin. Like it's that kind of thing. Like we name our pets and stuff.
Right. You definitely have to check out every Halloween, her family has a theme and they kill it. They do a great job. And so you guys have to check out, as I say, you have to check out Growing Up Slaughter because I live for the Halloween. Just if you didn't know, nobody, I'll be waiting, like, what's Tia family gonna do this year?
Everybody's like, we're waiting for this. Like, okay, guys, sorry we took so long to post the picture, but this is what it was. This is
I
who
love
we
it.
we love Halloween. I love it.
Yes, I love it though. I love all the themes. And so now we're going to talk a little bit about next chapter because we're coming to an end. So I know for me, like in my 20s, I really struggled to find my purpose. And, I lived life, whatever, in my 30s, but in my 40s, it's like, ooh, life shifted. It's like, ugh. I didn't care about what people thought. It was just like, I just became a different person. I just wanted to live for Alicia. And so what changed for you when you turned 40, and share your experience with that?
It was exactly that. So my 38th birthday, I think it was, I just had this sense where I just wanted to be by myself. I wanted to enjoy my birthday by myself. I didn't want any background noise or anything. So that 38th birthday, I got a room. I went out to eat. I got my nails done. I went shopping. I went back to the room. I did a little photo shoot by myself. I posted it, but I laughed to myself. I cried by myself. I danced, just all of these things in this room, just being me and in getting to know me and getting to know Tia. Because like you said, in my 20s, I, didn't know who I was. In my 30s, I was still trying to figure it out too. But like, I knew that I was getting close to 40 and there was just this thing, I was like, I need to find some self-care. I needed self-care. So at 38, I did that. And then 39, I was like paranoid because 40 was right around the corner and I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like so nervous. And when I turned 40, it was like, it became like, okay, like I really dabbled in, like I was really heavy into self-care. And I learned how to take care of me because I've taken care of so many people,
Right,
my whole entire life. I've had to take care of so many people, but I always forgot about me. And so at 40 and now at 41, I'm living for me and I'm taking care of me. I'm learning how to say no. I'm practicing boundaries. People don't like it, but it's okay. They don't.
That is good.
But it's okay, because I have to live for me. I've lived for so many people for, 40 years. So like this chapter of my life is for me. It's like I'm just gonna be selfish about, me and taking care of me. I have to put me first. And I bought a shirt that says me, period. I wear it all
I
the
love
time.
that.
I wear it all the time because that's, I have to remember that. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of everybody else. You can't take care of your kids. You can't pour from an empty cup. People say it all the time.
My favorite saying, yes. My
You
favorite
just can't
saying.
do it.
And then I like what you said about setting boundaries and saying no. And people have to understand that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain yourself why you can't do this. Oh, I can't come there because no, I can't come. Sorry. That's it. No, I can't do it. But yeah, because I know it probably was hard for you to find yourself outside of being a mom and a wife, because like you said, you've taken care of so many people for so long, and then being a stay-at-home mom, that probably makes it even harder to find who you are. So I think that was so dope when at 38, you was like, I'm going to a hotel room by myself and just relax, have a good time. I think that's amazing. And I think that every mom should do that, just to have that me time. Me time is the best time. And just so you can reset, because sometimes we need to reset, because I know for me, I'm always on the go. Then I always have my daughter with me. And sometimes like at night is my time to just bring it down, just reset. That's my time at night. Or just, you have to find time for yourself. You absolutely do. It's a must.
You do.
And now I have this funny question to ask you. If you were stranded on an island and you could only request one thing that would make you feel at peace, and it couldn't be a person, what would it be and why?
Okay, don't laugh at me. I think I'm gonna say my Christmas blanket. So
Okay, why?
my Christmas blanket. So I don't know when I got I think I got this Christmas blanket maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but it's a Christmas blanket.
Mhm.
It has Mickey Mouse on it and Mickey and Minnie on it. And I never boxed that Christmas blanket up, but I fell in love with this blanket and it brought so much comfort. So now, like, it was in the hospital when I had to be in the hospital, Philip brought the blanket and it brought, you know what I'm saying? It was like, I felt like I was at home. Now I sleep with the blanket. Everywhere when I travel, I have the blanket with me. Like, I absolutely love this Christmas blanket. And it doesn't matter if it's July,
Christmas.
I'm wrapped up in this Christmas blanket. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I think it's gonna be that Christmas blanket because it just when I put it around me, it's like it just brings comfort.
I
And it
love that. Now, with all that you've been through, the adversities, I mean, the happy times, what is your greatest lesson learned that you can share with everyone tonight?
my greatest lesson I can share with everyone. That's hard. What's my greatest lesson? I don't know. Maybe that mistakes happen.
Mhm,
Mistakes happen, but it's okay. You
mhm.
know, because life, we're gonna make mistakes. In life, we're gonna make mistakes, but we have to forgive ourselves. And I think like forgiving yourself for those mistakes. Oh, I'm about to cry.
Oh,
Forgiving yourself for those mistakes are like the biggest thing that you can do. So, like, yeah, forgive yourself and know that mistakes are gonna happen. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned in life right
all right, I
now.
see the hearts out there. People loving that. And then my last question for tonight is, what is your greatest parenting advice? I mean, you're a mother of 6 and you've been doing this since you were 16. What is your greatest parenting advice?
Listen to your children.
Mm,
Listen to your children and notice when there is something off with them.
mhm,
That is my greatest advice. Listen to them, and not only listen to them, if they tell you something, and if they tell you something that is, even if you are like, you can't believe it, believe it. Believe it. Like, listen to your children and also notice when things are off with them.
mhm. Yes, absolutely. I love that. You did it. I just had so much fun tonight. I see a lot of love in the chat. Hey, Tanika, she said, that's so true. We all make mistakes and fall short. Yes. And then Karen even mentioned earlier, we were talking about self-care. I understand that we have to make sure we're happy. And that's so true. And so now we've come to the time where we have questions. If you have any questions for Tia, put it in the chat. I'll give you all a minute to do that. This has been so enlightening. I just love everything that you said tonight, and hopefully you all felt the same. So thank you all that have joined tonight, but definitely if you have any questions, put those in there before we do our giveaway. So while I'm doing that, Tia, you can be coming up with your question that you're going to ask the people. So while you guys, if you have a question, like I said, put it in the chat. But while you're doing that, the rules of the game is Tia is going to ask a question based on what we discussed tonight. So hopefully you were good listeners. And if you've been on the whole time, hey, you have a better chance of winning. And then whoever responds first in the chat with the correct answer, you have to be spelled correctly and no abbreviations, is the winner. And again, it's the first person with no misspellings and no abbreviations. You are the winner. So Tia, I don't, so Marcia said, Tia, no question, but I honor you and salute you for your service to your family, your spouse, and yourself. All right, yes, that's right. Because the military spouses, they serve just as much as the actual military veterans and stuff. So yes, absolutely. All right, so Tia, what is your question?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Did I say it? I think I did say it. Okay. How old is my second child?
Ooh. Oh yeah, you had to list. I had to think about that, but I think I got it. All right, let the games begin. Again, the question is, how old is Tia's second child? Marcia said 16. No. Come on now, I want to see some guesses.
Come on.
No one else guessing? Everybody's quiet tonight. We have a great prize to give away. All right, just said I said 18. No. 21?
No.
But close, right?
Close.
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 Close, but yet far. No, it's playing. Keep on trying. Y'all getting close. Y'all getting warmer. All right, let's see. You got a good one tonight. 20. Again, you close, Marsha. Come on now. 20. 19 is set between Seta and Marsha. Y'all getting close. Karen says 19. Should we give them a clue?
It's the same amount of
24?
time. No.
No, close though.
The oldest.
Should we say it's in your 20s? It's in their 20s.
Yes. It's the same amount of time that I've been married.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's right. 22. Karen got it. Karen got it. So 22 is the answer. So Karen, I know Miss Karen, so I will get your information, Miss Karen, and we'll send that gift card. It's a Target gift card.
Target gift card, my favorite place to shop.
So I will make sure that you get that, Miss Karen. So I'll get your information. All right. And so I just want to say to you, Tia, you are a S.H.E.R.O. You have sacrificed for your children. You are healing from your past hurts. You evolved in what God wants you to be. You sat here today, revealed your truth, and you out here obtaining your goals and happiness. I can't wait to see more with Growing Up Slaughter and everything else you're doing. And so I just, again, thank you. It was an honor having you on tonight, and also for us just reconnecting because we hadn't talked for a long time. So just happy to have you on here. And we just want to thank everybody tonight for coming on. We really appreciate you. Just letting everybody know this is my last S.H.E.R.O spotlight for the year. Of course, we'll be back next year. I got already some moms lined up, but definitely make sure you guys tune in next month because I'm going to be giving a recap of all 11 S.H.E.R.Os that I've interviewed. All of them have been amazing, just like you all tonight. So I thank you all so much and hope you have a great night and a happy Thanksgiving as well.
Thanksgiving.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.